Hello dear students, welcome to all of you in the fourth lecture of Introduction to Language Learning. In this lecture we will discuss about historical perspective of linguistics. What is linguistics? What is historical linguistics? What does historical linguistics study at the level of phonological perspective, morphological, syntactic and semantic changes. We will also discuss different aspects regarding language and linguistics. What is linguistics? The word linguistics derived from Latin lingua. It means tongue, and istics means knowledge or science. Here is the definition of linguistics. Linguistics is the scientific study of language. Linguistics is the science which studies the origin, organization, nature and development of language descriptively, historically, comparatively and explicitly. Here are more definitions. The one definition is described by Noam Chomsky in 1957. Language is the set of finite or infinite of sentences, each finite in length and constructed out of a finite set of elements. Another definition by Sapir, he delivered his definition in 1921. Language is purely human and non-instinctive method of communicating ideas, emotions and desires by means of voluntarily produced symbols. Another definition, this is by Finot Carrier. He delivered this definition in 1965. Language is a system of arbitrary vocal symbols which permit all people in given culture or other people who have learned the system of that culture to communicate or to interact. Here is the introduction of historical linguistics and linguistics as well. Linguistics study the general principle of language, organization and behavior with reference to some actual language or languages. Any language can be taken. Linguistics is learning about a language rather than learning a language. Here is the example. For example, we can mention a car, learning how to drive, learning how a car works. Same is the case with the language. Same is the case with the linguistics. Learning how to speak a language, learning the organization of the language. Here are some questions that linguists that answers about these questions. Linguistics is the study of the language of the world. In order to answer the question like that, what are the building blocks of languages? Regarding the sound, words and sentences level. In the first level, in the sounds, we combine the words and the second language and combine into phrases and sentences, then combine sentences to make the discourse. Language basically is the objective because it is observable by senses, can be heard with ears or seen when vocal organs are in movement or when reading words on a page. Observation leads to a classification and definitions. Chemist classifies into metals, non-metals. Biologist classifies into plants and animals. Same is the case with language. Language is also classified with some people regarding the linguistics and other persons as well who works in this field. Linguistics is both empirical science and social science. Linguistics is a human discipline since it is concerned with human language, so it is a part of the studies of humanities, study of literature, appreciation of beauty and music of poetry. Lyon says linguistics has natural link with a wide range of academic disciplines. Here is the historical perspective regarding the linguistics. Robbins, who gave this idea in 1985, explains historical linguistics is the study of development in a language in a course of time, the ways in which language changes from period to period, and of the causes and results of such changes. It must be based on description of two or more stages in the development of language being studied. Changes in English from Old English to Middle English to Modern English. These are relating two different perspectives from diachronic and synchronic. Diachronic are the historical perspective. On the other hand, synchronic is relating to the present time. Well, changes in English from Old to Middle English to Modern English relates to diachronic. On the other hand, structure of English as it exists today and without reference to its past shape, that relates to a synchronic study. Comparative linguistics. There are two languages which are compared to each other. History of two languages is compared to discover historical relation between two languages in comparative historical study or philosophy. Such a work dominant in 19th century. Well, if we see over here, L mean here language, and L1 and L2. L1 basically relates to native language or mother tongue as well, and L2 that's relates to the second language. Second language, the example we can take that English is used as a second language in Pakistan. L1 proto language that relates to parent language. L1 L2 relates to sister language developed later. All these taken together from a language family: Proto-Indo-European, Latin, Greek, German and Sanskrit. A sound similarity in each cognate. They are cognate belonging to a set relating to a word which may have existed in Proto-Indo-European languages. Comparative linguistics try to construct cognate set and reconstruct proto-forms to talk about the challenges and the changes that have occurred in development of languages. Comparative linguistics study language changes, formation and development of languages. When descriptive linguistics study two or more languages that exist at a particular time, it studies language changes. In modern linguistics, the mainly descriptive because it attempts to describe fully and accurately the structure of language as it exists at a given time. On the synchronic based study, an effort to describe language all levels which relates to phonological, morphological, syntactic and semantic changes. Levels of linguistic analysis. Language has hierarchical structure. Language made up for smaller units, which are made up of still smaller units, and finally smallest in indivisible unit. Single distinguishable sound called phonemes. Phoneme basically is the smallest unit of sound, and the words as well. Phonology. What is phonology? Phonology is the study of how sounds are organized and used in natural languages. Phonology is just one of several aspects of language. It is related to other aspects such as phonetics, morphology, syntax, and pragmatics. Phonetics versus phonology. Phonetics basically is a broader term, and we can take it as a whole, just like all the languages, all the study the sound system of the languages relate to phonetics. When we study the particular language, just only one language, for example Punjabi, Seraiki, Pashto, Sindhi, we just take one language and study the sound system that relates to phonology. Here is the description that we can see over here, the phonetics and phonology, different definition and combination. It is based for a phonological analysis on the broader perspective and analyzes the production of all human speech sounds regardless of language. On the other hand, in phonology we just study the particular sound system of human language. It is based for further work in morphology, syntax, discourse, and morphology design. Analyze the sound pattern of a particular language by determining with which phonetic sounds are significant and explaining how these sounds are interpreted by the native speakers. Here is the difference between phone and phonemes. Phone basically relates to a sound system, one of many possible sounds in languages of the world. On the other hand, in phoneme, one of the many possible sounds in the languages of the world. The phone is the smallest identifiable unit found in a stream of speech. In phoneme, a minimal unit that serves to distinguish between meanings of the word. And in phone, we can just find out the represented between the brackets by convention and the conversation as well. On the other hand, represented between the slashes by convention. And phoneme and allophones. Difference between phoneme and allophone. If one allophone is exchanged with another, for example, if seen is produced with the lip rounding, the word, while perhaps sounding bit strange, is still comprehensible. If one phoneme is swapped with another, for example, seen is produced with the ba instead of a sa sound, the meaning of the word changes. They function contrastively. Assimilation. Well, in assimilation, basically we can define a rule that makes neighboring sounds similar by spreading a phonetic property from one sound to another. Ease of articulation. For example, nasalized vowels occur before nasal sounds. Man versus map, Bob versus bomb. These are the examples of assimilation. Elision. In linguistics, an elision or deletion, the omission of one or more sounds, such as a vowel, a consonant, or a whole syllable in a word or phrase. For example, da sound in a friendship. Friendship, not a friendship. Just we conversate in our spoken language. And you and me, and pronounced just only na sound, n sound. The da is usually omitted in spoken English. That's the elision. Here are some examples. You can see over here. Morphology. In morphology, we can define different aspects: decoding, vocabulary, comprehension, and spelling. Readers who recognize morpheme and more quickly and accurately in vocabulary, knowledge of meaning of words parts expands readers' vocabulary, and in comprehension, knowledge of morphemes helps makes meaning from text. In spelling, morphemes are units that can be predicted by different aspects relating to spelt. What is morphology? Morphology is the branch of linguistics that studies the structure of words. Morphology deals with syntax of complex words and parts of words, also called morphemes, as well as with the semantics of their lexical meanings. Morphology relates set of morphemes plus the rules of how they are combined. Well, here the lot of examples given over here, just like morphemes: unhappiness, unhappy and ness; horses, horse and plus s sound; walking, walk and ing. Word morpheme. Morpheme basically is the smallest unit, smallest sign in language, smallest form with a specific meaning. Here are two different aspects relating to the morphology: free and bond morpheme. Free morpheme, these are words with complete meaning, so they can stand alone as independent word. For example, girl, boy, mother. On the other hand, bond morpheme, there are lexical item incorporated into word, a dependent part. They can't stand alone. For example, we can just say unhappiness. Un is just bond morpheme. Ed and s sound as well. Bond morpheme operates in the connection process by means of derivation, inflection and compounding. In derivational morphemes create new words by changing the meaning, by changing the word class of the word. For example, happy, unhappy, the changing the word. On the other hand, inflection, we just add the word s and the word changes into a indefinite tenses. The inflection morpheme don't alter the words, just we put the single words. Well, the next one is syntax. Words are put together in sequence to express meanings for which no separate words exist. None of the human languages has signal words that can express a meaning like that expressed in the previous sentence. Lexicon and morphology alone are not sufficient to produce all the complex meaning and meaning distinction people need to make in thought and communication. Here is the definition. Syntax is the structure and the ordering of components within a sentence. Syntax is also a system of principles and rules by which novel sentences are produced and interprets sentences that are never been uttered by any speaker or heard by any hearer. Here, ungrammatical but acceptable. She got game, better, late than never, so far so good, it ain't over, break a leg. We can just speak all these sentences, but these are ungrammatical but acceptable in our society. These are symbols used as syntactic analysis. S, sentence. N, we just show the noun. V, verb. ART, article. NP, noun phrase. VP, verb phrase. ADJ, adjective. Pronoun. PN, proper noun. ADV, adverb. Prep, preposition. Aux, auxiliary. And PP, prepositional phrases. And ADJP, adjective phrase. And ADVP, VP, adverbial phrase. Here is the tree diagram of syntax. Here is the sentence just like over here. Took the money from the bank. You can see the took is the verb, the determiner, money, and that is NP, and overall it's VP, and from is a preposition, and the determiner, bank is the noun, and NP. This is the tree diagram. You can see there are a lot of examples of tree diagram. And the next one is the semantic changes. Semantic. What is semantic? Semantic is the study of meaning of words, phrases and sentences. When linguistics investigate the meaning of words in a language, they are normally interested in characterizing the conceptual meaning and less concerned with the associative meaning of the word. Here are some sentences that are relates to agent, theme and instrument and experiencer. These are relating to semantics, and you can also find out the location and source and the goal. Semantic lexical relation. These are homophone and homographs. Homophones basically relating to a different spelling and the meaning, and homograph and different punctuation and meaning, and different words, different meaning. And all these examples are given over here. Synonym and identical words as well. Semantic changes. Words meanings rarely change suddenly. Usually words develop new meanings which are related to previous ones. These changes take place continually. Causes of semantic changes: linguistic cause, historical change, social cause, psychological causes, and the need for new sentences. Here is the assignment that you can select any one. What is the difference between syntax and morphology? Explain with example. Read all the subsequent topics of today's lecture carefully and write its summary with example. And the next one is the issues in applied linguistics. Thank you.